There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me and you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. And be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. See when new eyes allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love and welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. And be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here, and you are welcome here. And breathe in and out. Slowly feel all that's around you, and all that you feel, and all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. And be who you are and let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, 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 when we unite. Yeah, yeah, when we unite. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. And peace is welcome here. And you are welcome here.
My name is Baji, and I'm one of the licensed practitioners here at the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. It's time now for us to do our call and response. And even though you may be in your home or some other place, as I read the statements, I want you to say them aloud with feeling and take this in as your own. How I choose to think creates my personal experience. Therefore, I choose to think affirmatively. I choose to speak affirmatively. I choose to live affirmatively. Not only is this my right, it is my responsibility as a conscious being. I allow myself to be guided, used, and available for the reawakening of everyone's magnificence. The moment is now, And I say yes. Yes. And so it is.
Yes, yes. The moment is now, and I say yes. Thank you, Practitioner Baji Daniels. Good morning, Spiritual Living Center family. All over the United States. We see you, California and Boise, Idaho, and Alabama and Florida, and many others. I'm not looking directly at the chat right now, so please be sure to let us know where you are tuning in from. Welcome to SLCA, a global community and part of a global community called Centers for Spiritual Living, where we are committed to a world that works for everyone through empowering individuals into their best life by providing spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. My name is David Alexander. I'm the spiritual director here, and it is my great joy to be with you this morning. I want to let you know some of the wonderful things that are happening here in this community, in this virtual space that we are creating together, so that you can get the most out of your own growth and evolution as a spiritual being. Shall we? Let's do it. First and foremost, our opportunity for circulation, grateful giving. We're so deeply grateful for all of the commitments that come in on a regular basis. Those of you who have set up your regular pledge or annual monthly support, thank you so much. And if you're inspired today and want to give during the service or as a result of today's service, it's easy to do so. Just to use the text to give number that you see there on the screen. The message that you put in the text is the dollar amount that you want to give. The system will prompt you for the rest. It's all secure. It moves through our same secure Breeze giving system. And there are other ways to donate as well. If you choose to send in a check, you can do that. If you choose to want to do PayPal or some other method, you can find all of those on our website. And we're so grateful for your support as we continue to grow this platform and this virtual space that is serving and reaching so many. So thank you so much for that. We'll do our affirmation for grateful giving a little bit later on in the service. Hey, want to let you know that as we are moving right along here in January, for you, there's still time for you to get a You Belong 2021 Spiritual Fulfillment Guide. This is very powerful because this has space within it, as you see here at the theme for the month for January, space for each Sunday of the year to take your notes during the message or after, and what you are learning and how that applies to your own intention, your own desire to grow. So we're connecting your own personal development with your experience here on Sunday and giving you a way to purposefully make that connection to enhance your spiritual growth. There's also some great wisdom in there just about our orientation to things in the beginning of the book as well. So order that online. If you're out of state, please just add the extra $5 for the shipping. We'll send it to you. If you're local, you can pick it up. If you've pre-ordered or if you order today, you can pick it up in Sunday afternoons and I believe Mondays from 10 to 3. Or just call us to make arrangements if those times don't work for you. So thank you so much for doing that. We have a wonderful lunch and learn program coming up. This is going to be the Power of I Am on February 2nd and 9th from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's going to be with the wonderful Reverend Carol Anderson. She's been in this teaching a long time. If there's one thing that she knows how to teach others, it is how to do powerful and effective affirmations. Did you hear me? Powerful and effective affirmations. Learn how to use this thing called the power of I am, because it will change your life. It seems simple on the surface. We kind of kick the phrase affirmations and things around, but when you really learn the power behind the language and how to guide and direct and use them effectively, the enhancement in your life is really tangible. So get into that lunch and learn February 2nd and 9th with Reverend Carol Anderson. And then on Wednesday evenings, we have our Wednesday evening gathering. You know, this is we want to just maybe dispel some rumors about this. This is not a class. This is a gathering. So it is like our Sunday morning opportunity. It's an opportunity to drop in and learn. The focus on Wednesdays is Living the Science of Mind, and it's a facilitated discussion where you participate, and there's group dialogue and small groups and all of that. So it's a wonderful open-ended opportunity to continue to learn. We're going to have a special guest teacher for the month of February. That's going to be Reverend Raymond Anderson. Many of you know him. He's been a guest here at SLCA in the past on Sundays. He is magnificent. So no one better to sit at the feet of during the month of February for our Living the Science of Mind class. And then finally, our You Belong class, based on the book You Belong, it begins tomorrow night, Monday, the 25th. It's going to start at 7 p.m. on Zoom. You need to register for that. And the last time I looked, we had 40, I believe, people registered. And there was somebody online who said that they were going to sign up too, so maybe 41. Yeah, I'm going to ask that a few more people say yes to this today, because I want to see that number hit at least 44. In honor of Hank Aaron. How about that? Huh? And of course, we could do more than that. We could have 10, 20 more people. It's unlimited on Zoom. So let's have as many people who want to come. But I know that there's at least 3 or 4 more people out there. Get us over that Hank Aaron number in honor of him this week. We begin tomorrow night. This is going to be a powerful class. We'll record the sessions if you can't make them all. It's a love offering basis. And we're going to be going through the book as well as additional reading materials that I'll send to you, articles, and exercises and small group dialogue. We have people from Canada, from California, from Oregon, from Texas, all signed up for this class. So this is going to be a wonderful experience, and I'll see you on Monday night. And finally, prayer. Prayer is at the heart of what we do, affirmative prayer with our licensed practitioners, and they are here for you. So don't let this day go by without an opportunity to get prayer support. Just let yourself be known in the chat that you would like prayer support. The practitioners will identify themselves that they are available for prayer, and you can just click right on their name and private message them, so you can keep the exchange about the need for prayer, separate from the dialogue in the chat, so confidential. Just click on their name when they say that I'm a practitioner and I'm available for prayer today. Click on their name, send them a private message, and then we'll take care of it from there and getting you set up. We want to welcome all of our viewers on Facebook Live and on YouTube this morning. We're on both platforms simultaneously. Welcome again to Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta, a place where you belong, because you are. So thank you so much. We're going to have now Penelope lead us in the next point of inspiration.
Yes, we can. Now is the time for all good men to come together. Now's the time for all good men to get together with one another. We got to honor the problems and honor the quarrels, and try to live as brothers, and try to find the peace within without stepping on one another. And do remember the women of the world. Remember we all had mothers. We gotta make this land a better land in the world in which we live, and help each man be a better man with the kindness that we give. I know we can make it. I know darn well we can work it out. Oh yes we can. I know we can. Yes we can. Why can't we if we want it? Yes we can. I know we can make it work. I know we can make it if we try. Oh yes we can. I know we can. Yes we can. Great gosh almighty, if we want it, yes we can. Woo! We gotta take care of the children, little children of the world. They're our strongest hope for the future, for the little bitty boys and girls. We gotta make this land a better land in the world in which we live, and make each man be a better man with the kindness that we give. I know we can make it. I know darn well we can work it out. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Why can't we? If we want it, we can make it work. I know we can make it work. I know we can make it if we try. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Great God, Almighty, if we want it, yes, we can.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Penelope. That was awesome. Very good. My name is Karen Ratz. I identify as she, her, and hers, and I am very proud and grateful to be a practitioner here at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. I also have the great honor of being currently the president of the Board of Trustees, and I serve with this amazing staff, Reverend David, Penelope, Shannon, Jean Bell, all these amazing people and my fellow practitioners. So we are grateful for all of you. We are grateful for our friends and family here today. You are indeed welcome here. So it is my honor to do affirmative prayer. As if you know anything about New Thought, you know that Ernest Holmes taught a 5-step affirmative prayer treatment. And so I'd like to offer it to you this morning. I will speak it in first person. Take what resonates with you for yourself. And so what I know now, in this present moment, our beautiful now moment, the only time, the time is now. And what I am assured of is there is only oneness here, one energy, one God by any name. There is only oneness. And I can be assured that I am one with God. I am one with this energy. It runs through all things, me, my thoughts, others, their very beingness, the planet, the animals, the pets, the greenery, all life force is this one energy infinitely flowing with infinite diversity, and yet this common element of unlimited, unbounded energy. And so from this powerful place of oneness, I declare this morning, all of the feelings that are going through me are absolutely valid and to be acknowledged. Relief and relaxation, anything that I have felt in this past week and in this now moment. I also know that I am not relinquishing my responsibility to choose my thoughts, to make my and our future. I know that all systems are simply habitual thought. And I take responsibility for changing my systems through my thoughts, which affect the greater systemic good. And so right here and right now, I claim love. I claim my self-worth. I claim my value on the planet. I claim the fact that my soul and all those souls, whether here now or perhaps not currently here on the planet, they are eternal souls. We are eternal souls forever unfolding. This evolution cannot be stopped. We cannot be harmed at a soul level. And so I am here with fierceness, with boldness, with love, with accountability and responsibility and unity and energetic oneness. And I am so grateful. I'm grateful for the power to choose my thoughts. I am grateful to launch these thoughts into the unlimited field of possibilities. I am grateful for this now moment. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I now release this treatment to spiritual law, where it is already doing its work, where divine order always comes from divine chaos. With great love, I release this now, and so it is.
With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. As I open and allow, I know right here and now, I create a world where wonders never cease. With every prayer, I breathe the heart of God. I breathe the love of God through me. Through me.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Penelope Williams, our wonderful music director, and thank you, practitioner Karen Ratz, for that wonderful, wonderful affirmative prayer. Good morning again, everyone, beloveds. It's so, so good to be with you on this beautiful, beautiful day. I've seen a few comments in the chats, and I just want to help people out. I know some people have already commented and provided the information, but just want to reemphasize for the You Belong class that begins tomorrow night. This is the book, and it's different than our workbook for the year. And so the author here is Sabina Selassie, and you can pick it up on Amazon. You can get the Kindle version. That way you have it right away. But if you prefer the hard copy, for me, if it's a good book, I have both the hard copy, I have the Kindle, I've got everything. So if you get the Kindle, you can even, if you prefer the hard copy, you might download a sample, and that will give you the introduction, the beginning of the book, which is the only thing we're going to be covering tomorrow night, and that'll give time for the physical copy to still arrive. And I saw in the chat, thank you, Eva Gage, who mentioned that it is also on Audible, and it is read by the author, which to me always makes a huge difference for Audible books. And it's always wonderful to hear the author, an author read their own words. So I'm going to go on and getting that version too and checking it out. So whatever version you want, that's the book we're using, and we'll start tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Looking forward to that. Good morning again. As we take a breath and take stock of where we are in the year and the beginning of this new year, this new season, beginning of where we are in this new moment of life. Every moment is a new moment. Every week is a new opportunity. Every breath is a new opportunity. And so we're always invited to really, look and see where are we and where do we want to go. And that is also a collective energy that's happening, that always happens around New Year, but I think it's also a different emphasis around it, right? That's happening with the inauguration and the change of administrations, that there's a collective sense of, okay, now, where do we want to go, right? I began last week by talking about Dr. King's message in the last sermon that he wrote, where do we go from here? chaos or community? And for me, that question is still very much in my mind, still very much in my heart when I kind of pray and meditate on where we are. What possibilities lie beyond the horizon that we can now see? Where are the growing edges in ourselves, in our community, in our movement? As we set intentions and we move forward, the intentions that are in our spiritual guidebook for us of connect, grow, serve, and give, right? How can I connect? How can I grow? How can I serve? How can I give this year, this week, this day, this moment? As a movement, as part of Centers for Spiritual Living, we have a bold vision in which we believe and see a world that works for everyone. And specifically, one of the nuances of what that means is we envision a world in which every person lives in alignment with their highest potential, the highest spiritual principles, where we emphasize a unity with God and a connection with each other. A world in which individuality, and both individually and collectively, we are called to a higher state of consciousness and a higher state of action. And so where do we go from here? I sit in that question still as a point of discernment, meditative discernment. Right? Where do we go from here? It's been almost a year of doing church like this online. Where do we go from here? Vaccines are rolling out, and we see some point in the horizon in the future we'll return to gathering physically in our space in Claremont and continuing to have a presence for our online audience, which is all over the United States and Canada. Where do we go from here? I ask it as a pastor, as a father, as a husband, as a member of my community. And what I notice is that there are parts of my body and parts of my mind, and maybe even parts of my soul, that over the last many years have been so braced and guarded, ready for action, guarding against any harm coming to my family, ready to defend both my position and my values in the public square. Black Lives Matter, equality and dignity for all people, and that there's been but a real fight for some of those things for some time now. And I've noticed that there's a softening, right? There's a release of some tension. As those moments became moments of critical and moral imperative, but now they seem to require a bit of relaxing. After Wednesday, there was just a deep sigh, and I noticed it was like, oh wow, I was holding tension in certain parts of my body that I didn't realize I was holding tension in. My chest could breathe a little bit deeper. And like the physical body, the spiritual, mental, and emotional body had also taken a breath. I had been in a position of exercised and flexed and even held in resistance. And when we do that, like in a good physical workout, our muscles release a lactic acid, right, into the stream that makes our physical muscles tired and ache the next day, right? And so there's certain things that we have to do in order to mitigate that stiffness feeling in the morning, getting out of bed, right? What is the prescription for a good workout, for after a good workout, right? Where do you go from there? You had a good workout, right? Where do you go from that point? And the prescription is fairly simple, right? There's some rest. There's some hydration that is very important, and stretching. Those are the 3 points I want to focus on today: rest, hydration, and stretching. And maybe even in a different order, right? Not necessarily that order, but those 3 points. First, notice just where your body, your mind, your mental, spiritual, emotional self needs a rest, right? Give yourself permission for some downtime. You deserve it, right? You've earned it, right? Some self-care. Turn off the TV, not, be in a 24-hour hyper-tensive news cycle. Maybe some of you weren't there to begin with, but I know I was, right? So that's what it means for me, taking a rest. It's like, let's find something else to watch tonight, right? Maybe a movie, maybe some Netflix, maybe some quiet time without the TV on at all, right? Maybe getting in. I found myself reading some books and some things that have nothing to do with my spiritual teaching on Sunday or preparing for class or anything. They're just fun history things or different things that I'll read, right? Suddenly there's space in my mental awareness that is allowing room for that. So notice where your mental, emotional, and physical body needs to rest and give it permission to do that. Second, hydrate, right? Replenish your physical body with fluids that are good for you and nurturing, right? Water and fluidity in scripture, always, in every tradition, always means the presence of spirit, the flow of spirit, right? The importance of baptism, the presence of water and the sacredness of water is about the presence of spirit in our life. So hydrate, replenish. You're hydrating right now. You're sitting somewhere in a comfortable position, either watching on a laptop, a computer, a phone, maybe you have it broadcasting to your TV, which, by the way, I love the pictures that you all send me of broadcasting it to your TV in your living rooms. It's wonderful, right? Give yourself permission to refresh your soul with spiritual insight and inspiration, meditation and spiritual practice. And then stretch. Stretch. This is the part where, especially as I get older, I need more of it. Amen, somebody. I need more of it. And I don't particularly like it, right? Because I kind of know from my 20s and 30s and my more athletic days, right, that were behind me, I kind of know the level of, stretching and care that I needed. And I like to think that I can still do that kind of level of stretching and care and physically do more. And the equation's flipped, right? I need twice as much stretching and water and hydration and rest than I do for the amount of physical exertion I give, whether that's yard work or exercise or whatever the case may be, right? So stretch, what does it mean to stretch those muscles physically? There's a recent article in, I think, the New York Times that talked about slowing down to feel, the importance of slowing down to feel. That's a kind of stretch, right? Instead of jumping back into the normalcy of busy and rush and go, and it's a new year and let's get after our goals and our intentions. Let's actually take some time to slow down and feel. And so the title today is Looking Ahead. Looking ahead. And we need to be honest here. There are, I think, some difficult days ahead. There's a prediction that we will top over 500,000 deaths related to COVID in the very near future, by spring. We have some difficult days ahead. The economy, many people in job markets are suffering today. The election, we have to admit, did not heal anything. It may have relieved some pressure. It may have created that moment of exhale. But in many ways, it actually pushed a large portion of people who voted for a different outcome, who had a different vision for the future, and it pushed them underground. And in many ways, exacerbating their sense of disenfranchisement that fueled their ideological perspective to begin with. It hasn't gone away. It's just been suppressed. And many of those forms of suppression were for good reason, for the good overall mental health of our collective social media sphere and our collective consciousness. But it's important to remember that that energy didn't just dissolve and disappear and go away. And so I come back to the question, where do we go from here? There are many who are calling for unity, for just moving forward. Let's just forget everything that happened. Let's forget the pain. Let's forget the insurrection. Let's forget the most outrageous outbursts of our past, and let's just move forward. And some of those are from people politically aligned with the office that did not win the election, right? And to me, those calls for unity, particularly from those politically on the right, occur to me as the calls of an alcoholic to their abused spouse who says, oh, forget about last night. Let's just forget about that. I love you. Let's just move forward. Can't we just get along? Can't we just move forward? It's a disingenuous kind of call for unity. It's a disingenuous appeal to the angels of our better nature. Surely we must move forward, but we must move forward with accountability for what has been done and for how and who has participated in it. And so I find myself in both the spiritual and sort of political sphere not being one of the individuals right now that is calling for unity, because what I hear is kind of a false unity that's being called for. I hear, and even on the left, and I want to be very clear, it's not about picking on one political party. I'll also say that the calls for unity, to the degree that they're coming sometimes from spiritual people on the left, are also a kind of false unity in which there's a desire to return to normal life, right? Let's just return to normal life. We have a new administration and we just go back to, there's a growing sense, and I invite you to pay attention to this to yourself as well. Where do you sense a sort of a relief for a sense of normalcy returning, right? And then that's a double-edged sword. There's a welcoming that we should make of that sense of normalcy returning, but there's also a caution there. And that caution is important, right? I think it's really important that we all remember something. In the normal world, quote unquote, before the last 4 years, right? That world was a world in which we all too often attributed police brutality to simply a few bad eggs in the police department, right? The normal world was a world in which good white people, we saved good white people from needing to have the hard conversations, because after all, they were good white people, right? They posted something about Black Lives Matter. They have Black friends. We're not talking about them. We're talking only about the overt cases of racism. We're only talking about the ones, the quote unquote bad apples in the police department, or the bad apples in a corporate office, or the people who are inflicting direct harm in overt and obvious ways. The rest of us get a pass. In the normal world, we sent love and light to the disadvantaged, believing that our thoughts and prayers would suffice. In the normal world, we didn't tackle the hard issues because we didn't have to. You see, there's something about the gift of these last 4 years that we have been through together, my friends, that served as a ripping of the Band-Aid off of our collective skin so that we could see the wounds for what they really were, so that we could see them as systemic and pervasive and enduring. We realized that they weren't put there over the last 4 years. They weren't put there even by the people that were perpetuating harm in the moment. No, those individuals were simply ripping off the scab off of the surface, but the wound had been there for generations, for decades, for millennia. And what grew out of that was a courage and a tenacity and a willingness upon the collective consciousness to say, okay, let's deal with the wound at the source. Let's stop pointing fingers and blaming, and let's do the real hard work. And so I don't want a unity if it means going back to silence, if it means dismissal and avoidance of the tough conversations, if it means just playing nice with the political spectrum of our friends and family and our congregants. I don't seek to go back to that normal. A call for unity which lacks accountability. It's kind of like I want to go back to the workout metaphor because I've been working out again lately, which I had taken some time off. And it was interesting. I just wasn't motivated. And since the inauguration, it was like, all right, I need to get back in shape here physically, right? But false calls for unity sort of occur to me as like my favorite bag of potato chips, right? Calling for unity with my workout regime, right? It's like my favorite bag of potato chips talking and saying, can't we just get along? Can we just forget that difficult thing that we did yesterday and this goal that you have to be flexible and to lose 10 pounds or whatever the case may be? It's like my potato chip is the one asking for unity. Right? And what they're really asking for is to be integrated back into the diet at a rate and a level that's not healthy. No, I don't want that. Right? Looking ahead, I want to know this moment that we have been made for. I want to know this moment that we have been made for. Oh, hear me. I want to know this moment that we have been made for. I do not want to be hypnotized or anesthetized into patterns of habitual thinking, of us and them and separation and the good guys won, or the thank God I'm over here and think like this, or I've got a church that believes in oneness, or because those places of hiding out weren't getting to the real deep work. No, I want to stay and know this moment that we were made for. Looking ahead, this moment that requires us stretching, that requires a kind of rigor and discipline to stay on task, to call a thing, but not just to call it, but to actually do the work to heal it. And so, by all means, rest as your soul needs to rest. Hydrate daily, weekly, monthly, here and elsewhere in your own spiritual practice. And stretch, reach beyond, and notice where there is a pull to going to the comfortable, to going back to the old ways. Just notice where they are. We all have them. Notice them, and then invite yourself to stretch. Say, no, this moment requires a new discipline. It requires a new kind of rigor. It requires a new focus, you see. It requires a mental rigor of knowing that oneness is not sameness and that there is no unity without accountability. That oneness without responsibility is a kind of what I call cheap privilege. I posted something about that on social media. And I was inspired by the concept and the words of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who spoke of what he called cheap grace. And cheap grace for Bonhoeffer was forgiveness without redemption, without repentance. Forgiveness without repentance. He was a Lutheran theologian in Germany during World War II and was active in speaking out against Hitler. And he spoke about moving forward, that if we have forgiveness without repentance, returning again, repenting means to think again, to rethink that thought that led me down the wrong path, right? To think again. Without repentance, forgiveness is doling out cheap grace. And I think in much the same way in the New Thought movement and the oneness movement, a kind of affirming our oneness in the midst of so much chaos that we have been through, affirming oneness without the responsibility for what that oneness means is a kind of cheap privilege, right? We get to sit kind of in our high throne and claim our oneness with all of humanity, and all things are one, and everything's connected, and we see the light and the love and the good in all, but we don't take responsibility for what that means. You see, the moment that you claim that you are one with a power that is in, through, and as everything, then you claim responsibility for being in relationship with that one, such that that one manifests itself in, through, and as everything. And there are still plenty of places in our world where that one is not showing up. And it won't until we take responsibility and do the good work. And so we must address the collective unconscious that perpetuates these ideas of separation. We do this by expanding our awareness and understanding that we swim in the embodiment of white privilege and systemic racism, and that we are all subject to this trauma being passed down through the generations. This is why one of the things that we will focus on in the You Belong class is how to identify and heal some of that generational trauma. The radical understanding of oneness calls us to address these issues at a deep, deep level, right? And resist the notion of wanting revenge or righteousness, right? I was wrapped up in a phone call yesterday for over 45 minutes, almost an hour. I was out and about doing some things and pulled over to take this call, and it turned out to be a scam. And it was the Lake Oswego Police Department, where I used to live and used to have my church in Oregon, in Lake Oswego outside of Portland. Supposedly, it was somebody from the Lake Oswego Police Department calling me about a warrant for my arrest for failure to appear in court. And I mean, what not because of an unpaid ticket or some criminal activity, but apparently for I was supposed to be a witness in a case and had been subpoenaed, and it was just this incredibly elaborate thing, which, you know, could have had some truth to it. I, as a pastor, had to, call DHS, Department of Human Services, on more than one occasion as a mandated reporter for certain issues, and so might not be out of the ordinary to consider that I might have to testify about something if something accelerated. I wasn't aware of anything accelerating to that level that I reported on, but it occurred to me that it could be possible. But the story was incredibly elaborate, that the police officers had shown up at an old address of mine, and somebody apparently had forged my signature. And anyway, without getting into all of the details, I disconnected and called the police department back and discovered that it was a scam. And there had been several other missed calls in a short period of time. I say all of this to say after I figured it out and they didn't get any personal information from me or any banking information, which is what they were going for. I wanted to, and in fact, I did dial back one of the other numbers, because once I'd figured out that I had been tricked, you see, I wanted to see if I could get that same person on the line again, and I wanted to get at them. I wanted to say, you son of a God being, you, you know, right? I wanted to say, who do you think you are? And da 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 da. And when I called the number back, it went to the Lake Oswego Police Department because they had been using some kind of scrambler to make it appear as if they were calling from that number. And I confessed to the operator who I had just been speaking to that I was trying to get the person back on the line. And she said, we understand, you wanting to set the record straight and maybe give this person a piece of your mind, but we're really encouraging people to just not engage with them at all. Right. And I had to laugh because I thought, of course, we should not, of course, that's the wisest thing to do. But I was caught up in a moment of wanting to establish my righteous indignation and make it known, right? So notice any of those places that come up for you as a need to set the record straight as we go forward. And just let them pass. Because the responsibility for oneness is within our side of ourselves. What is it in me that wants to feel victimized and in righteous anger lash out at the person who victimized me? And is that not the same sense of anger and disenfranchisement that certainly at a different level, at a different vibration, at a different level of concentration, but is that not the same energy that stormed the Capitol? A group of people that felt so disenfranchised and unheard and taken advantage of. And so, we have our work cut out for us. In Howard Thurman's book, Jesus and the Disinherited, he speaks, I think a few weeks ago, I shared about his breakdown, his articulation and breakdown of hate, what hate is. And then the next chapter, he speaks about love. And he talks about the return of love. And he talks about how we love our neighbor as ourself. And in there, he identifies that this is made challenging in three very distinct ways, that there are three kinds of evil, so to speak, for which our love must be the counter response and must be the antidote to. The first, he says, is the easiest one, and it's the personal level. It's what I experienced on the phone call, right? Somebody does a direct harm to me or seeks to do a direct harm to me. And he says that's easy because it requires reconciliation. You reestablish the relationship, right? You heal. The reconciliation implies that there's conciliation to begin with. So we reconcile, we reestablish harmony and mutual benefit, right? Mutual values going forward. The second level he talks about is the level in which a group of people are cast as evil by the association of their behaviors. So it's a whole group of people who, lash out and act in this particular way. And he says that needs to be counteracted by removing the behavior from the person and seeing the person for who they are. And in this, by the way, he gives incredible detailed examples of how Jesus has done each of these things, right? To forgive the person who persecuted him personally, to forgive a whole group of people who, as taught in the Good Samaritan, who are seen as other. And then the third level is sort of state-sponsored, if you will. He talks about Rome, and he talks about then casting a whole group of people because the person is a Roman soldier, right? I might hate them or I might act out against them, but I have to remove the label of Roman from that individual and return to them their human dignity as an individual in order for me to establish that relationship. And he speaks in there about there being great risk in doing that. What if it doesn't work? What if they persecute me anyway? What if my followers or what if my people call me a sellout, essentially, right? for doing that. All of these things, he says, and yet the command and the call to love our neighbor as ourselves is to do it anyway. I want to share just a little bit of that last bit from his work, and then I'll share one more piece and we'll wrap up. He says, oh, what then is the word of religion of Jesus to those who stand with their backs against the wall? Those who stand with their backs against the wall, meaning those who have been perpetually oppressed and disadvantaged in society. What is the word of the religion of Jesus? In other words, what is the spiritual value at the heart? He's not talking about Christianity. He's not talking about Jesus was a revolutionary who believed in a kind of conscious awareness, right? Okay, I'm going to stop explaining that because we don't have time for that. But he says there must be the clearest possible understanding of the anatomy of the issues facing them. The clearest possible understanding of the anatomy of the issues facing them, right? We must understand white supremacy. We must understand racism. We must understand these things that have been facing our society for all this time, for all these years. We must have it's not about glossing over them and loving each other and saying, let's get back to normal. Right? It's about having a fierce understanding of the anatomy of what's been facing us. They must recognize, he says, fear, deception, and hatred, each for what it is. Once having done this, they must learn how to destroy these or render themselves immune to their domain. In so great an undertaking, it will become increasingly clear that the contradictions of life are not ultimate. The disinherited will know for themselves that there is a spirit at work in life and in the hearts of men, which is committed to overcoming the evils of the world. It is the universal, knowing no age, no race, no culture, and no condition of men, for the privileged and the underprivileged alike. If the individual puts at the disposal of spirit the needful dedication and discipline, he can live effectively in the chaos of the present, the high destiny of a son of man, right? If we can put at our disposal, right, the dedication and the discipline, then we can live effectively in the ensuing chaos, our high destiny as children of God. Howard Thurman from Jesus and the Disinherited. And so looking forward, where do we go from here? Over the years, there's one book that I have returned to again and again and again as a prescription for how to move forward. And it is Creating a World That Works for All by Sharif Abdullah. And at the end of the book, we used this last summer at SLCA as our summer book club study. And at the end, he has a pledge for those who are committed to doing this work. And so we'll close today's message with this pledge. It says, I believe in inclusivity. I believe that our lives are inextricably linked to one another. We cannot wager war against anyone without waging war against ourselves. Therefore, I will practice inclusivity with myself, my family, my community, the natural world, and all others. I will actively work towards the goal of an inclusive society, a world that works for all. I know that we are one. Therefore, I will give to you what I want for me. I know that there is enough for all. I want everyone to win. Therefore, I will give to you what I want for me. Therefore, I will work to resolve all conflicts to every party's satisfaction. I want acceptance. Therefore, I will accept myself for who and what I am. I will accept you for who and what you are. And I will accept all others for who and what they are. Even if I resist your behavior, I will accept you as a child of God, part of the divine. I want no harm. Therefore, I will not harm myself or you or any others by thought, words, or deed. I want forgiveness. Therefore, I will forgive myself, and I will forgive you, and I will forgive all others. I want to be free. Therefore, I will not let others dominate, control, or manipulate me, and I will not dominate, control, or manipulate you. I want peace. Therefore, I will be peaceful with myself, with you, and with all others. I want love. Therefore, I will love myself. I will love you, and I will love all others. That is entitled The Mender's Pledge from Sharif Abdullah, Creating a World That Works for All. And so as we look ahead, we see that there's still deep work to do. And it begins right here with ourselves and right here in the brave space of community that we create together. It is such an honor to be in service to you and with you as we continue to build this thing together. Thank you, my beloveds. Let's have a great week. I'll see you in class on Wednesday night and continue to dive deep as you look ahead for what is your work and your authentic call to the integrity of your practice and discipline for this year and for our collective unfolding. Peace and blessings.
Reverend Dr. David Alexander. Thank you. Thank you. Whew. Are you like I am, always so full after he speaks, after these services, whether you watch them live or watch them later, does it fill your heart? Can I point out that we have made a very conscious choice at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta to make this class called You Belong, that starts tomorrow night, Monday night at 7 p.m. on Zoom. You can sign up through our website on Breeze. It is a love offering, which means right now, if your resources are zero, bring love. You can gift whatever you can to that class, but we want you in that class. You belong means you belong. Everyone, no matter economics, no matter situation, we want you in that class. And the man you just heard speak, Reverend Dr. David Alexander, will be teaching it. So don't worry if you have the book or don't have the book, we'll help you figure that out. Please come to that class tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We would love to have you. So as we come to our time for grateful giving, can I point out two things about why we do this? The first is the law of circulation. If you tithe to where you are spiritually fed, you keep that energy of money, that energy of prosperity going. You affirm to the universe your prosperity, and you keep it flowing to a place you are spiritually fed. And then the second thing is that we as a center practice conscious business. And so if you value Reverend Alexander being in his position, we pay him a salary to do this. If you value our executive director, Shannon Pruitt, we pay him a salary to do this. We are a center that is a conscious business. So we are so appreciative of your gifts. We are so appreciative of your participation. And let's say together our affirmation for grateful giving. You will find all the ways to give on our website, on these text to tithes, or on slca.com/donations. Thank you. We are grateful. All right, let's say it together with gusto. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and we say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. That we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.